welcome to the Unstuck podcast. Great to have you here. We're very excited about Anita Froese being here again today. We're going to talk about authenticity. What does that mean? If you truly want to be authentic, that might be a little scary. So we're going to chat about, do you actually lose friends when you start being authentic? How do you choose better friends so that you can have real relationships and trust? And when you do make that decision to be authentic, sometimes that comes with a little period of isolation. And so how do you snap out of that isolation and get back into the world where God wants you? Because we are created for relationships. So stick around. We're going to talk about Anita's book, The Struggle to Be Real. And we're going to have a chat with her. And she's very wise. So here we go. So welcome, Anita. I'm so glad to have you again.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, and last time we talked a little bit about your story, so people can go back and they can listen to your whole story and how you got to be a coach and how you got to be where you are today. But today we're going to talk about what you're really passionate about.
Yeah.
And that is, you go ahead. I was going to say being worthy.
Being worthy. Yeah. Yes.
So what does that mean? You're passionate about us feeling worthy, knowing our worth, right?
Yeah. So many clients, so many women that I talk to, they just feel like they're not worth it. They're not enough.
Right.
They're not accepted. I don't belong here. I'm not smart enough. It's the I'm not. But you are.
Why do you think so many women feel that way?
I don't know if it's...
Is it just women, or are you, it's probably both.
It's probably both, but I really don't dig into...
But you minister to women.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, and why is it? I'm wondering if a lot of it has to do with comparison, social media. I don't know, can it go as far back as a sandbox?
You're right.
Right.
Do you think that oftentimes we feel unworthy or unloved, unappreciated because we are seeking worth from the wrong source?
Yes.
Yeah,
we're putting our joy, our happiness, our worthiness, we're putting it into other people's hands.
Right.
And it has no business being there because it's not their job.
Right.
And we need to take that back and know whose we are and truly hang on to that and dig into that.
Really, we're talking a bit about approval of others.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And so how do we shake that off? How do we stop wanting the approval of others?
I don't know. Can I ask you that question?
How do we stop comparing?
You're right.
I guess it's an ongoing journey.
It is. It's awareness.
Right.
What are my thoughts? What am I thinking? Where do I feel lack? Why am I feeling insecure? It's the awareness. We've got to use this.
Right.
So let me ask you this question. Do you think that you're worthy of love and acceptance?
Well, it is hard to feel worthy of love and acceptance, especially because, there has been, for a lot of people, myself included, I've experienced rejection multiple times in my life. And every time it happens again, I feel less worthy and I feel unlovable. Now, I really know that I'm very lovable, but to some. Others not so much. But why do we care so much?
There's the age-old question.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, what if you would try to flip the script with rejection?
Okay, elaborate.
So I've been reading a lot.
I think this has turned into a counseling session.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Do you want the couch? I've been learning that with studying a little bit of Jamie Kern Lima, when she talks about fear of rejection. She says, what if we look at rejection as God's protection?
Right.
Right? And it's really learning how to change the script in our mind, taking our thoughts captive. Because we can go down rabbit holes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Right? And they're no good for us.
Right.
Because most of the time, a lot of the time, 98% of the time, they are wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not discounting what people have to go through, because it can be a very long journey of rejection, right? But it's now, how do we learn how to change our mindset?
Yeah, and for me, there were people in my childhood, going back to the sandbox, that rejected me. And so what I actually realized later in life is that I was seeking the approval of these kinds of people, same personalities, same, I don't know, same culture. And so, well, of course we'll be rejected again and again if that's what we do, if we go back to the same kind of people again and again.
And is it because we want to prove?
It's approval.
First we want to prove ourselves, and plus we want the approval of others.
All of that, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what's the solution, Anita? Counsel me.
What is the solution? Well, that's going to be for another podcast, because I'm learning because I've had to walk the same thing.
Right.
But I'm really learning that it's really working on your mindset. It truly is. It's working with those memories, and it's taking thoughts captive, and it's being grateful. I think that we need to have more of a gratitude mindset also.
Right.
Instead of all the thoughts of I don't have, right. I don't have, right. But I do have.
Right. Yeah.
And do all these people really matter?
The truth about that is, I used to have this mindset of, God wants us to love everybody.
Yeah.
And He does. But He doesn't want everybody to walk all over us.
There is boundaries.
Yeah, there is boundaries. And that is like, oh, well, you could just say, well, yeah, that's logical. Or everybody knows that. But when you're actually living it, it's really not that easy to just say, see ya.
Right.
To people.
No.
Who you loved, who you wanted the approval of, and you realized these are not the people for me. These are not my people.
How long do you want to perform?
Yeah.
Performance exhaustion is real.
Yeah.
And we don't need to do that.
Right.
And that's when you finally learn who you are, how much you're worth. You are accepted.
Yeah. And your book is about authenticity, about being authentic, which I was going to have it here and I was going to hold it up.
I have it.
Where?
In my purse.
Hang on. Okay, in your book, The Struggle to Be Real by Anita Froese. The journey to being authentic. On authenticity.
Yeah. Notice how I didn't say I have arrived. It's a journey. It's a journey.
What struck me when I read your book most, it's so good. It's so good. Everyone go buy it.
Thank you.
But what struck me the most is, this is all true. This is great and true. And then, but it really, don't read the book if you don't want to change things. I'm just saying. Because I started thinking.
Who doesn't want change?
Right? I started thinking, to be authentic,
that's risky.
It is pretty risky. You're gonna lose friends.
Maybe.
You're gonna.
Maybe.
I did. I lost friends. But you know what?
Were they true friends then?
Well, that's the question that we have to ask ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We have to ask, are these our true friends? And then sometimes we're going to be in a place where we realize that there's a lot of people by people who are not authentic.
Right.
And so that might mean seriously finding new friends. You know, it
Mhm.
reminded me when I was reading your book, and I was thinking about, I've seen this many times growing up in a Christian community, and someone becomes a Christian at age 15 or 16 or 17. They've
Mhm.
been on the party scene, they become a Christian, and now they have to drop all of their friends because they're not drinking and they're not partying and doing all the bad stuff anymore.
Mhm.
They're dropping them all, and there's this little season where there's no friends, no good
Mhm.
friends, and you have to trust God to
Trust the
bring
process.
you into that authentic world where there's
Yeah.
authentic people and real good friendships.
Yeah. Right.
And so
And we need those.
it's worth it though.
It is,
That little
but there
tiny-
could be some time of loneliness and isolation, and
Yeah.
that's hard.
It's very hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think too many people are spending too much time in that isolation period.
And that's the thing, and that's why you're on the Unstuck podcast. Because you can get stuck there.
Oh, definitely.
If you're not careful, you can
Mhm.
go into seclusion,
Mhm.
hide,
Hibernate. Mm-hmm.
you know, be in your little corner with God where things are great and good.
Mhm.
But that's not what God wants for us. God did create us for relationship,
Mhm.
and He wants to use us, and we can't be used if we're sitting in a corner by ourselves.
No.
And so that's why
Yeah.
finding authentic people.
And there's seasons in life, right? And I think that
Yeah.
isolation is winter,
Yeah,
right? And what happens in winter, you know, you can just bury yourself, you can hibernate, and maybe there is a season of hibernation and learning and growing and seeing what you truly want. But spring is coming,
right.
right? New things.
And don't stay in your corner in spring, summer, and fall.
No.
Because you'll miss out.
Yeah.
You miss out on a ton of blessings.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you do decide to just stay in hiding and not face the real world anymore, it's kind of a form of self-sabotage.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, and why do you think we do that? Why do we self-sabotage?
Because we don't feel worthy. It's like knowing that you want to pursue this and knowing that there is something better on the other side, and then all of a sudden you get this, I'm not worthy of that, and you'll do things to shrink back into your little cubby hole
Right.
because you don't feel you deserve it, I'm not worthy of it, nobody's going to accept it, so
Right.
you instantly crawl back into your hole.
So how do you not self-sabotage?
Boy, you have to be brave to know that you can step out, you can do new things. It's one step at a time. It's 1% changes at a time. It's learning how to love yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's not a vain love.
Right.
But how do we give love to others and do great things if we don't even feel that for ourselves? You
Right.
can't.
Right.
You'll run out of your cup's going to become empty, or you're going to burn out, one or the other, from performance exhaustion. Like, that's not who we are. And it's learning how to really truly learn who you are and what you were designed to do. And we're all designed to serve, and we can't just serve from a cubbyhole.
I just want to thank Anita for being on the podcast today. If you want her book, The Struggle to Be Real, please go to her website, thefortifiedlifestyle.com. You can grab her book there, and make sure you subscribe to the Phoebe Project. We're here to connect people for inner healing. It's important to take care of ourselves on the inside. So, subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and visit our website. And we've got some great resources there on how you can get your healing. So it's thephoebeproject.com. See you next time.